What's up, everybody out there checking this video out of mine? This is another Year in Wrestling video. This is the Year in Wrestling 2006 Part 1 video. I'll be talking about mostly WWE and TNA, mostly, and their pay-per-view events and some other stuff that may have happened on their TV shows. Okay, starting off, before I talk about Royal Rumble 06, I'm going to talk about Sting and his TNA debut. He did work there once in 2004 at 2003 at TNA Slammiversary, their 1-year anniversary show. Sting just showed up, just made an appearance and wrestled in the main event. It was a tag match. But Sting came back and decided to come back basically full-time almost, but also part-time, because it wasn't used on every Impact Wrestling show on Spike TV. So Sting debuts with TNA in January 2006, I believe. TNA on Spike TV had a New Year's Eve special on that was 1 or 2 hours long, and then they kept teasing at the start of the new year on January 1st at midnight that TNA was going to have a big surprise for everybody, and there was going to be a debut. And nobody knew who it was going to be, but a lot of fans probably did if they read the internet. So Sting debuts on the New Year's Eve TNA special on Spike that went into January 1st after midnight. Sting made his debut. Confetti came down. I'm not even sure if Sting appeared, but all I know is they made the announcement that Sting is coming to TNA, and then confetti came down. They showed a baseball bat in the ring, I believe, and he may have appeared, but I don't remember it because it was almost 10 years ago. Anyways, they made the announcement that Sting signed with TNA basically full-time and decided to not go to the WWE. He could have went to the WWE back in 2001, but Sting decided not to because he was afraid how the WWE and Vince would treat and portray his character, and I don't blame him, because a lot of the WCW guys that came over did not work out in the WWE. Really, none of them did, except for probably Booker T. He was the one that got the biggest push out of everybody. DDP didn't succeed that much, and he kind of got buried. And a lot of guys from WCW got buried, and Sting probably was watching at home the invasion angle and didn't like what WWE did to the WCW guys, so he decided to never go to work for WWE. Instead, he signed with TNA in January 06, and Sting stayed there for like 9 years, or 8 years, a very long time. Sting should have left, went to WWE in probably 2009 or 2010. One of those times he should have went to work for WWE because he was younger than he is now. And Sting probably will never wrestle another match in his WWE career. He probably never will. I fear Sting will never work in a WWE ring again. I just believe he won't. So, enough about Sting and TNA. Now I'm going to talk about WWE Royal Rumble 2006 pay-per-view, which took place from Miami, Florida. There's a lot of the Rumbles in the beginning, in the 90s and 2000s. A lot of Rumbles took place in Florida or in California. A lot of them. This was from Miami. Royal Rumble 06 kicked off with Gregory Helms. Everybody used to know him as the Hurricane. Also in WCW, Sugar Shane Helms of 3 Count. Gregory Helms wins the Cruiserweight Championship, defeating Kid Cash in a 6-man Invitational Texas Tornado match, I guess they were calling it. After that, we had a Divas match. Mickie James defeated Ashley Massaro, who was a second ever Diva Search winner was Ashley. She got out of the business a long time ago, probably 2009 or 8. So she's been gone a long time. Trish Stratus was a referee for the Mickie Ashley match, and they were teasing a Trish and Mickie James feud going into WrestleMania. That was the direction they were going, and they would go that way. Anyways, Trish, I believe, didn't take on Mickie at New Year's Revolution, which I think they still had a New Year's Revolution pay-per-view in 06. Yeah, it was right before the Royal Rumble. New Year's Revolution, I forgot about it. But it was before the Royal Rumble, and the Divas match was Ashley Massaro winning a bra and panties gauntlet match. That wasn't very good wrestling, women's wrestling at all. It was just bra and panties gauntlet. So that was at New Year's Revolution. Ashley Massaro won a Divas bra and panties gauntlet match. And at the Royal Rumble, as I said, Mickie James defeated Ashley Massaro. Trish Stratus was the women's champion at the time. She was a guest referee for it. Back to New Year's Revolution. Some good stuff that happened on it that I'll mention. Ric Flair defeated Edge by DQ. Women's champion Trish Stratus did take on Mickie James at New Year's Revolution. I thought they saved that match for WrestleMania, but no, they had to put it on early. So Trish defeated Mickie James for the women's championship. This was like, I guess, Trish giving Mickie a title shot out of her just being her friend, but then Mickie turned on Trish and started really becoming obsessed with her in the storyline. Started acting like a psycho-obsessed fan, obsessed with Trish. Mickie ended up kidnapping on Raw. She kidnapped some guy they had playing Trish's boyfriend, which wasn't a real boyfriend, but some dude playing him. Mickie kidnapped her date and tied him up to a chair and covered his mouth with a rag, or tied his mouth up so he couldn't yell and speak, and then had him as a gift under a gift box in the ring. And then the box was lifted up, and I believe Trish's date was under the box. And then Trish came out, tried to save him. Then Mickie attacked Trish and beat her up, and then did the evil heel psycho fan smile at Trish. That was great work from Mickie, as Mickie was turning heel. She was a great psycho fan heel. She played that part very, very well. And Trish was a babyface. So then, before Mickie, I believe, kidnapped Trish's date on Raw, I think right after New Year's, or might have been the last Raw, 2005, Mickie brought a mistletoe out, put it over Trish's head, and started kissing her and making out with her. Well, Trish didn't like it, and then got Mickie, pushed her off of her and said, "What are you doing? Why are you kissing me?" And so Mickie basically wanted to kiss Trish because she was a psycho fan again, going together with the storyline. That was pretty hot. A little bit of HLA action between Mickie and Trish. I wouldn't mind seeing that myself. But it never happened. It never went anywhere. Obviously, because both of them in real life are not lesbians. They were just playing a storyline and playing a part. I'm just saying, if they got together, that'd be pretty hot, and I'd watch it. But I'm a dude, so I'm a pig. I would watch some HLA. Sorry, I'm a guy. I would. So, what else happened at New Year's Revolution? Jerry Lawler defeated Gregory Helms. That, I don't know why they even had a match on pay-per-view. I guess they were in a little feud. or a short feud. Triple H defeated the Big Show. This, I believe, was a match where Big Show maybe he was trying to get revenge on Triple H because Triple H broke his hand, or maybe after the match at New Year's Revolution, Triple H might have broke the Big Show's hand with a sledgehammer or something like that. I know he broke his hand because at the Royal Rumble, when the Big Show entered the Rumble, he had a cast on. Triple H defeated the Big Show at New Year's Revolution. Shelton Benjamin defeated Viscera, the world's largest love machine. He had that stupid ass, lame ass gimmick. It was bad, what they gave Viscera. That gimmick was awful. The main event was a Raw World Heavyweight Championship, or I think it was for the WWE Championship. I think it was for one of them. It says Raw World Champion. John Cena defended against Kurt Angle, Kane, Shawn Michaels, Carlito, and Chris Masters in the Elimination Chamber. Edge cashed in after Cena retained. Edge cashed in his Money in the Bank. Came down with the briefcase, gave it to Vince, and said, "I'm cash in." Edge ran to the ring. We got the first ever Money in the Bank cash in to kick off 2006. Edge gets in the ring, spears Cena 1, 2, 3. Edge becomes the new WWE champion. That was a great moment. It was very memorable and it was awesome. I was happy for Edge that he won a world title finally. So Edge went to the Rumble as WWE champion. Now back to the Royal Rumble. After Mickey defeated Ashley, we had the Boogeyman defeat JBL, which was garbage. It was absolutely crap and it was boring as hell. And now the Royal Rumble match, where we had Rey Mysterio enter, I think, number 2. And Triple H entered number 1. And they both lasted like at least 59 minutes, 60 minutes, because I think the finish was Rey Mysterio eliminating Triple H. Obviously, Rey Mysterio in 2006, we all know he won the Royal Rumble match. So I think he eliminated Triple H to win it. So they were both in there over 60 minutes. Rey lasted 61 minutes. I think, let's see, Rey lasted at least 61 minutes. I believe he broke a record for lasting the longest in the Rumble history. So Rey dedicating his Rumble win to the late great Eddie Guerrero. Rey Mysterio pulls out the upset victory and wins a Royal Rumble. At the time, I was excited and happy that Rey won. It was a good Rumble match and it was pretty entertaining. But watching it back 10 years later, it wasn't that entertaining. But it was decent. Just watching it back last night, I watched Royal Rumble 2006. The Rumble match was not that great. It had a couple parts that were good, but a lot of it was boring. I mean, you had a couple returns in it. Rob Van Dam returned in the Rumble after, in 2005, he tore his ACL and had a knee injury, and he was out for most of 2005. He returned in the Rumble in 06. He got a huge pop. Great reaction. Came in the Rumble on fire, kicking everybody's ass. Then you had another return. Goldust returned. Had a decent showing, but didn't last that long. Another return that was pretty unexpected in the 2006 Rumble was past New Generation. He was in the New Generation of the WWF. He was around that era. He actually debuted in, I think at Survivor Series 92. Was his first pay-per-view. Tatanka came back in the Rumble 2006, had a pretty damn good showing, lasted probably 20 minutes or longer. He had a pretty damn good showing. So it was good to see Tatanka back, and he would be back for a couple months on the SmackDown brand. The final 5 guys that were left in the Rumble 2006, everybody knows Ray won. And some Booker T even entered in 2006. When Booker came in, Chris Benoit threw him out, and Booker's in the ring for only like 45 seconds or 50 seconds. Booker wasn't even in the Rumble for a minute, and he got tossed over the top by Benoit. That is pretty ridiculous, but I remember at the time, I believe Booker T had a groin injury, or he was injured, so that's why he probably got eliminated so fast in 06. Because it'd be pointless if he wasn't injured to do that to Booker, because he's a great worker, and was. So the final 5 guys were Carlito, Rob Van Dam, Rey Mysterio, Triple H, and Randy Orton. They were the final 5. And then Shawn Michaels was even in there pretty late. And Vince came out, his music hit. Vince was taunting HBK from the outside. Then Shane McMahon appeared behind HBK in the ring. Shane McMahon came back, ran up behind HBK, threw him over the top rope, eliminating Shawn Michaels. That should have been against the rules because Shane wasn't in the Rumble match, but they still let him eliminate Shawn. Whatever, Shawn was eliminated. I remember being pretty pissed off that he got eliminated. But a year later, 2007, Shawn Michaels would almost win it when him and Undertaker were the final 2 in the Rumble. So Shane eliminates Shawn. Shawn is angry, pissed off, gets in the ring, really mad, super kicks Triple H, leaves the ring, chases after Shane McMahon and Vince, and then that set up the WrestleMania 22 match between Vince and Shawn, which I felt bad for Shawn Michaels that he had to work at a WrestleMania with Vince, but whatever. It was a decent feud, I guess. So the final match, or final 2 matches after the Rumble, were for the Raw WWE Championship. The Raw champion, the championship that was on Monday Night Raw in the Raw brand. John Cena defeated Edge to win back the WWE Championship. Now Edge, as I said, just won it on January 1st, 06, and he loses it at the Royal Rumble like 3 or 4 weeks later. He loses it right back to Cena. That was pretty stupid, but whatever. I'm sure the company, WWE, wanted Cena to be the champion going into WrestleMania. So that's why they had Edge lose. Now the SmackDown World Heavyweight Championship was the final match of the Royal Rumble 2006, and it wasn't that good, and it wasn't very long either. They should never have a championship match after a Rumble match. That just, in my opinion, that is stupid and doesn't work, and the crowd would be dead for it. The Rumble match should always be the final match of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. It should always be the main event, in my opinion. But in 06, it was not. Kurt Angle defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Mark Henry. Of course, he defeats Mark Henry. And then we have the return. The ring collapses from The Undertaker's powers. And The Undertaker's music hits, and The Undertaker returns at the Royal Rumble 2006. That would set up the next pay-per-view, No Way Out 06, where The Undertaker and Kurt Angle would have a pretty epic World Heavyweight Championship match and main event. So that was Royal Rumble 06. As I said, watching 06 Rumble back 10 years later, it was kind of boring. It wasn't that good. But I understand why they had Ray win. He did it because he did it for Eddie. Now on to TNA's Final Resolution pay-per-view, which, see, time's already going fast in this video, and I still got a lot to talk about. So hopefully I don't go 1 hour, but maybe I will. TNA Final Resolution took place in January 2006, January 15th. I'm going to just talk about matches that were entertaining. Not every single match on the card. I'm not going to mention it. Team Canada defeated the team of Kenny King, Lance Hoyt, and Jay Lethal in a decent six-man. The LAX Latin American Exchange defeated the Naturals. Austin Aries and Roderick Strong and Alex Shelley defeated Chris Sabin, Sanjay Dutt, and Matt Bentley in another six-man X Division match. That's not worth mentioning. AJ Styles defeated some Japanese wrestler. I cannot pronounce his name for shit, so I'm not going to try. Sean Waltman defeated Raven. Sean Waltman, if you don't know, it was X-Pac. Bobby Roode defeated Ron Killings, which was probably decent. Abyss defeated Rhino. NWA Tag Team Champions AMW America's Most Wanted defeated Team 3D. X Division Champion Samoa Joe defeated Christopher Daniels. And the main event was Christian Cage and Sting making his first TNA pay-per-view appearance in 2006. Christian Cage and Sting defeated Jeff Jarrett and Monty Brown. I believe Sting got the pinfall victory after he hit a Scorpion Death drop, probably on Jeff Jarrett. So now on to the TNA's February pay-per-view, which was Against All Odds in 2006 of February. That's not worth mentioning. A lot of these matches aren't. Again, now the Naturals took on Roderick Strong and Austin Aries and defeated them this time. Shannon Moore made an appearance and teamed up with Elix Skipper and David Young, and they lost to Lance Hoyt, Shark Boy, and Cassidy Riley. Jay Lethal defeated Alex Shelley, Matt Bentley, and Petey Williams in a four-way. So Jay Lethal won the four-way. Rhino again defeated Abyss. This time it was Falls Count Anywhere. America's Most Wanted defeated Sanjay Dutt and Chris Sabin. Team 3D defeated Bobby Roode and Eric Young. X Division Champion Samoa Joe defeated AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels in a three-way. And the main event was Christian Cage defeating Jeff Jarrett to win the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. I remember that match. It was pretty cool to see Christian win a world title because he did not in the WWE before 2006. He was just a tag champ and intercontinental champion, but European champion, and I believe Christian was even a hardcore champion in WWE because a lot of guys, mid-carders in the WWE, a lot of them could say they were a hardcore champion because a lot of them probably were like 10-time hardcore champions because the title probably changed hands 5 times on every Raw and SmackDown back in the Attitude Era, or back from 99 to like 2002. The hardcore title probably changed hands probably 500 times total. So Christian Cage wins the NWA World title. I'm sure it was a great feeling for him, great accomplishment. Congrats to Christian Cage for being an NWA World Champion. And I'm sure when he went to TNA and signed with TNA in the fall of 2005, I'm sure he was probably promised that he'd get a world title run. Now I'm going to talk about WWE No Way Out, which was a SmackDown pay-per-view. It was a SmackDown pay-per-view, was a No Way Out 06. Kicked off with Cruiserweight Champion Gregory Helms defeating Super Crazy, Psychosis, Sho Funaki, Scotty 2 Hotty, Paul London, Brian Kendrick, Nunzio, and Kid Cash. He defeated all of them. I don't know if it was a gauntlet match or what, but Gregory Helms defeated all of them to retain the Cruiserweight title. JBL defeated Bobby Lashley, which was kind of boring. Matt Hardy and Tatanka defeated Eminem. Chris Benoit defeated Booker T to win the U.S. title. So Benoit would go to WrestleMania 22, I believe, as U.S. champ. Randy Orton defeated Rey Mysterio Jr. to earn a world title shot at WrestleMania 22. Rey lost. His Royal Rumble 06 victory meant nothing because he lost it at No Way Out 06 to Randy Orton and put it on the line and lost it. And then after the match, Eddie's widow, Vicky Guerrero, was backstage and Chavo, and they were staring at Rey. And they all started crying, and then Rey started telling Vicky, I'm sorry, and telling Chavo, I'm sorry, I let you down, I let Eddie down. And then they all hugged and embraced. And then eventually, somehow, Rey got his title shot back and got put in the World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania, and it became a triple threat. So then it was Randy Orton, Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio. Then, after Orton defeated Rey, the SmackDown World Heavyweight Champion, Kurt Angle, defeated The Undertaker in a 5-star match. It was very, very good. I really enjoyed it. It was a great match between Taker and Kurt Angle. And they had a lot of great matches in their career against each other. Now I'm going to talk about and go back to TNA. And this will be the last TNA pay-per-view I talk about in this video. It was Destination X from March 06. Shannon Moore defeated Cassidy Riley. David, that's not even worth mentioning. Well, maybe it is. David Young and Elix Skipper defeated Norman Smiley, who came into TNA for like one appearance, I guess. Defeated Norman Smiley and Shark Boy. Again, Alex Shelley defeated Jay Lethal. They had a couple matches on 3 straight pay-per-views, it seems like. Team Canada defeated the Naturals. A lot of these tag teams, like the Naturals and the James Gang and the Naturals, nobody cared about them in TNA. At least I didn't. Let's see what else here. Jeff Jarrett and America's Most Wanted teamed up and defeated Team 3D and Ron Killings. Or Rhino and Ron Killings. In an 8-man tag, there may have been a tables match. I'm not sure. Christopher Daniels defeated AJ Styles and X Division champion Samoa Joe in an Ultimate X match to win the X Division title. NWA World Champion Christian Cage defeated Monty Brown in the main event at Destination X06. It was a decent pay-per-view. I believe Sting even made an appearance at the end of it. He was in a feud with, I believe, Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett or somebody kept filming Sting's son at like football practice. They kept filming Sting's kids. And then Sting showed up at the guy's door right in front of the guy and is sitting in his car filming him, and he pushed the camera and said, "What the hell are you doing?" And the guy drove off, I guess. Jeff Jarrett hired him to film Sting's family to piss off Sting to come back out of retirement or something. So then Sting returned at Destination X without any face paint and street clothes, came out the crowd, I believe, and beat the shit out of Jeff Jarrett and some other people. But then I think Jeff Jarrett got some help from some backup and then broke a guitar over Sting's head, I think. And then the pay-per-view went off the air or something like that. So that was Destination X. Now I'm going to talk about WWE WrestleMania 22, which took place in April 2nd, 06, from Chicago. And before WrestleMania, I went to, or right after WrestleMania, I guess I'll show this. It's a ticket for Raw that I went to in 06. I guess I'll show it after WrestleMania. After I talk about WrestleMania, because the Raw was after WrestleMania took place. It was like, I think, 10 days later or 9 days later or something like that. So WrestleMania kicked off with the World Tag Team Championships on the line from Raw. The Big Show and Kane, the champions, defeated Chris Masters and Carlito. The crowd's pretty hot for this opening match, but it wasn't very good of a match. It was kind of boring. Kane and the Big Show retained. Up next, we had the Money in the Bank ladder match. A lot of guys were in this. Rob Van Dam, Bobby Lashley, Matt Hardy, Finlay, Ric Flair, Benjamin. They were all in it. A lot of guys. RVD ends up winning Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 22. That was awesome. That was great because I was a RVD fan. Still am. Up next, we had JBL defeat Chris Benoit for the U.S. Championship. It was a decent match, but it could have been off of WrestleMania, but I understand they wanted Benoit on WrestleMania and JBL on WrestleMania also. But I could have gone without seeing that match at WrestleMania. Up next, this was a highlight of WrestleMania 22 in my opinion. It was a damn good, entertaining, hardcore match. We had Edge defeat Mick Foley in a hardcore match, or Extreme Rules match, whatever they called it back then. There was no rules. There was thumbtacks involved. There was flaming tables involved. There was a barbed wire baseball bat involved. It was great. It was great old school hardcore wrestling from Mick Foley, who I guess kind of came out of retirement to wrestle Edge at WrestleMania, and he wanted to put Edge over because Mick Foley is a good guy like that. He always wanted to put guys over that he saw potential in, and that he saw as future stars, and Edge definitely was a rising star in 06. So Edge defeats Mick Foley. Mick Foley puts him over, gets speared off the ring apron through the flaming table. That spot was absolutely fucking insane, and it got a huge pop. It got a holy shit chant. Fans loved it. I loved it. It was an awesome spot. Through the flaming table. Mick Foley, his back of his shirt, his red flannel, I believe might have had a hole in it from being burned a little, but I'm sure he didn't get burned, and he was fine. And one of them, Mick Foley bled a lot, and I think Edge may have gotten busted open also and bled, or cut himself. So Edge gets the rub from Mick Foley and gets a big push off defeating Mick Foley after Edge lost the world title to John Cena at Royal Rumble. Then Edge gets another push and help from Mick Foley at WrestleMania, so that was good for Edge's career. I'm sure he really appreciated Mick Foley doing the job to him, because Mick Foley probably, if he complained and bitched, he probably could have won that match against Edge, but he wanted to put Edge over and be a good guy, because that's the kind of person Mick Foley is. He's a good guy. I know it, and I can tell. He's a good guy. He never played backstage politics and never screwed anybody over or fucked them over by playing politics and stabbing other wrestlers in the back. So, not only do I respect the hell out of Mick Foley for him giving his body for the fans to be entertained, and what he put his body through. I respect Mick Foley even more for not being a backstage politics backstabber to a lot of the boys. So now, as WrestleMania goes on, we had the Boogeyman defeat Sharmell and Booker T in a handicap match. This was straight up just bad. It was a bad match. It was bad booking. Shouldn't have been on a WrestleMania, but whatever. I believe WrestleMania 22, I think, was 4 hours long, so they had to put some throwaway matches with just dumb matches. And Booker and Sharmell against Boogeyman was one of the dumb matches that was put on WrestleMania 22. Up next, this was great. Just like Mick Foley and Edge, this match was great. It was for the Women's Championship. Trish Stratus lost the championship to Mickie James. Mickie defeated her. They had a damn good match. During it, Mickie was playing the lesbian type psycho lesbian heel. She had her hand down by Trish's private area, and she rubbed it a little and then went like this and licked her hand and licked it and smelled her hand and then smiled. That got a great reaction from the fans. They cheered that when Mickie did that. And when she rubbed her hand down by Trish's privates, Trish did not like that. She looked uncomfortable and backed away. Like, what the fuck are you doing, Mickie, you psycho, in the ring? Obviously, I'm sure that spot was set up ahead of time backstage. They probably talked about it, and Trish was okay with it because it was part of the storyline. So Mickie wins a women's championship, and at the end, after she walked up the ramp, she held up the championship, and she put on a great psycho face and a crazy smile. It was awesome. Up next was The Undertaker defeating Mark Henry and continuing his streak at WrestleMania in a casket match. It wasn't very good. This casket match was almost as bad as his match against King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania 11. Now, for the SmackDown, first, we had Shawn Michaels defeat Vince McMahon in a street fight. And this was pretty entertaining and good because Shawn Michaels was in it. And he made the match good. And he made the match with Vince work. Because Shawn is that good of a worker. It was a lot of using weapons, Singapore canes, trash cans were involved. Shawn laid Vince on a table, climbed up a giant ladder. He was up at least 20 feet. And HBK teased everybody when he was up on the ladder. He went like that. And he did the DX suck it sign, and the crowd popped for that. And then he dropped the elbow through Vince through the table. That was a great spot. Crowd popped. And then he put a trash can, I believe, on over Vince's head. And then super kicked the trash can and super kicked and bashed Vince's head in. And then I believe he pinned him 1, 2, 3. That's the way Shawn Michaels, I believe, defeated Vince. And it would have been really stupid if they would have had Vince go over Shawn. Because that would have made no sense, having a 60-year-old man beat Shawn Michaels, who was 40 at the time. Or I think Shawn was 40. I'm not sure. I think he's 50 now or 49. So up next was the SmackDown World Heavyweight Championship. Kurt Angle defended in a triple threat against Rey Mysterio Jr., who won the Royal Rumble, and Randy Orton. And Rey Mysterio, during his entrance, he got the group POD and somebody else were singing his entrance theme. That was a pretty good entrance from Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. It was a spectacle brought to WrestleMania. It was good to see. So Rey Mysterio does the underdog. Rey Mysterio does the unthinkable and wins the World Heavyweight Championship for Eddie Guerrero. In memory of Eddie Guerrero, Rey wins the World Heavyweight Championship It was a great WrestleMania moment, and it was good to see Rey Mysterio become a world champion in the WWE, considering how small he was. And a lot of small guys in the WWE never became world champions, really. Up next was just stupid, and I guess it was just to look at some good eye candy because it wasn't a wrestling match and it really shouldn't have been on WrestleMania, but it was just eye candy, I guess. Just to look at some good eye candy. Tori Wilson defeated Candice Michelle in a Playboy pillow fight. As I said, it wasn't a match and it was pretty stupid, but whatever. We got to see two hot chicks come out and get in the ring. And I believe they ended the match in their bra and panties. Bra and panties beating each other with pillows. And then at the end of it, they hugged it out or something like that. And celebrated. Main event now was for the Raw WWE Championship. It wasn't called the Raw WWE Championship, but the WWE Championship was exclusive back then to Monday Night Raw on the Raw brand. So, the WWE Champion John Cena and Triple H, they had a pretty damn good match. Triple H was a veteran, had a lot more time in the business than John Cena did in 06. And Triple H carried John Cena and pulled out a pretty damn good match in Cena. And during this, Cena had a pretty entertaining entrance where they had mobsters. I think a mobster video played on the screen, like Chicago mobsters was a theme of Cena's entrance, and he came out in a long trench coat like he was a mobster, and he had a Tommy gun, and then he shot it up in the air. It was obviously fake bullets, but it made a gun noise like he was really shooting it up in the air. But obviously they weren't real bullets because they would have went flying into the crowd and probably killed somebody. But whatever. Chicago nowadays has flying bullets going all over the place probably every day because they're a war zone. But that's a different story. Not here to talk about Chicago's violence and make fun of their violence. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying nowadays everybody knows Chicago and their homicides are out of control. So, back to Cena's entrance. Mobsters come out. They lift up the stage and these mobsters come out hanging on the side of a car with Tommy guns in their hand. Why am I bringing this up? Because one of the mobsters holding a Tommy gun dressed up in a suit, like an old school, like 1940s, 1930s suit. I believe it's pinstripes. Anyways, one of them playing the mobsters was CM Punk. If you watch WrestleMania 22 back, you can stare at the mobsters. One of them is CM Punk. He was playing a mobster. He was under contract with the WWE. He was just signed, I think, in late 05 from Ring of Honor. He signed with the WWE, went to OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling, where Paul Heyman was there running things, and really told WWE when Paul Heyman was down there, he told WWE that CM Punk is going to be a future star and you better call this guy up to the main roster immediately. WWE didn't listen. They never did bring CM Punk up until August of 06. And they put him on the ECW brand when the ECW brand, the name at least, ECW, was being brought back as a third brand for the WWE, or under the WWE umbrella. So CM Punk was a mobster at WrestleMania 22 holding a Tommy gun. If you did not know that, watch WrestleMania 22 back. Right before Cena comes out and they lift up the stage for the car to come out, Cena is on the side. Not Cena. CM Punk is on the side of the car hanging off of it. And then he goes right past the camera. You can see his face that it's CM Punk. And then at WrestleMania 23, a year later, CM Punk would debut at WrestleMania. Not debut, but have his WrestleMania debut and compete in a Money in the Bank match a year later, after being a mobster at WrestleMania 22 in his hometown of Chicago. So then Cena comes out, has a pretty entertaining entrance, as I said, shoots a gun up in the air. And then him and Triple H have a pretty damn good match. Crowd really turned on Cena in this match, and they were cheering for Triple H to win the championship. Well, Triple H did not get it done. Triple H ended up tapping out to the STF, I believe. So I know Triple H tapped out. So John Cena wins and retains by submission. As I said, Triple H carried the match, made Cena look good, made him look like a star, and it was all good. So that ended WrestleMania 22, was Cena Triple H. Favorite parts of WrestleMania, favorite matches of WrestleMania 22 were Money in the Bank, Trish, Mickey, and Mick Foley versus Edge were my favorite matches. So 3 out of probably 9 matches or whatever. 3 out of 8 matches were my favorite. So this ends my, well, not yet, almost done. Before I'm done, I'll talk about this guy right here, because in 2005, I don't know if I discussed it. Anyways, I don't know if I don't think I discussed Eddie Guerrero's death much in my last video, part 4 of the Year in Wrestling 2005. I may have brought up that Eddie passed away in November before the Survivor Series. It was sucked. For any Eddie Guerrero fan, it fucking sucked that we lost Eddie. It sucks that he's still not here, because he should be, but he's not. Anyways, I don't need to bring up how I think Chavo found Eddie dead in his hotel room. I'm not going to bring up the whole story. If you don't know how Eddie died, look it up on the internet. Hall of Fame. Before WrestleMania 22, the Hall of Fame was put on, as it is every year now before WrestleMania, on WrestleMania Eve. WWE puts on their Hall of Fame. And they put in, at this Hall of Fame, 2006, they put in William the Refrigerator Perry from the Chicago Bears Super Bowl team in 85. They put in Sherry Martel, who had a great career. Damn sad she passed away. She had a great career in the WWF as Sensational Sherry and the Queen of the Macho King. And she managed, her final guy she managed was Shawn Michaels in WWF before she left and debuted in WCW in 94 with Ric Flair. She started managing him. And then Sherry went on to manage Harlem Heat from late 94 to late 97. She managed Harlem Heat. So, what was I saying? Sherry Martel went in. The Black Jacks, I believe, went in. Paul Orndorff went in the Hall of Fame in 06. Tony Atlas, I think, went in. Mean Gene Okerlund, I know, went in. Hulk Hogan did his introduction to the Hall of Fame. And Stone Cold did Bret Hart's induction speech into the Hall of Fame, or to introduce Bret Hart. And when Stone Cold came out, the fans in Chicago started chanting Austin Hogan, Austin Hogan, Austin Hogan, because I guess they wanted to see a Austin versus Hulk Hogan match, but we would never get it, sadly. Even though their styles would have never worked in the ring, and the match would have been shit. And the match probably would have been shit because Austin and Hogan wouldn't have been able to decide who is going to win, who's going to put who over, because I'm damn sure Hogan went to decide to put over Stone Cold, and I'm sure Stone Cold wouldn't want to put over Hogan, because Hogan's like 10 years older than Stone Cold, or 11 years older. So why would Stone Cold want a job to someone older than him? I don't know if that makes sense, but it does to me. So the fans, I guess, wanted to see Austin versus Hogan. I would have liked to see it, but we're never going to see it. They're too old, and they're not coming back in the ring, people. Neither guy, Stone Cold or Hulk Hogan, are not going to come back and have a match in the WWE. I do not see that happening ever again. So, Bret Hart was put in the Hall of Fame as a headliner. The final Hall of Fame inductee, Bret Hart, was welcomed back into the WWE family. That was great to see. Before the Hall of Fame, WWE released a Bret Hart DVD and documentary called Bret Hart. I believe it's called Heart and Soul, I think. Anyways, Bret Hart's DVD is on the network. It's a pretty damn good watch if you're a fan of Bret Hart. Even if you're not a fan of Bret Hart, you should still watch it, and you'll end up respecting Bret Hart after you watch it, because the guy's been through a lot. The guy's lost, he's lost Davey Boy Smith, his brother Owen. He lost his, I think, one or two other brothers in his family. He lost his mother, his father's gone. And then Bret Hart, I believe, had 2 strokes in 2002 or 2003 or something, or 2001. Around that time, I believe Bret Hart had strokes, and he wasn't good. He was in the hospital, and Vince actually called Bret when he was in the hospital and talked to him after he had his stroke. I'm glad Bret Hart is healthy nowadays and still living. And then Eddie Guerrero was put in the Hall of Fame also. He passed away at the end of 2005. Very tragic, very sad, but Eddie got his rightful place in the Hall of Fame where he deserves to be, because he was a Hall of Fame talent. So that was a good 2006. That was a good Hall of Fame. Had a good class, good talent, was put in the Hall of Fame. That's available on the network if you want to watch it, the 2006 Hall of Fame. It's on there. It's a pretty entertaining, good watch. Now, after I talked about the Hall of Fame, I'm going to talk about Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, from Ring of Honor. On September 17th, 2005, Daniel Bryan won the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship when he defeated James Gibson in Long Island, New York. Who's James Gibson, you're asking? Well, he was from WWE, Jamie Noble. That was his name in Ring of Honor was James Gibson. He was a pretty damn good worker when he was in Ring of Honor. I don't know why he was called James Gibson in Ring of Honor. I think that's his real name. Anyways, he's Jamie Noble. Bryan Danielson defeated him to become the Ring of Honor World Champion on September 17th, 2005. I already said that. And Daniel Bryan would hold the title for just under 15 months. And he was the second longest reigning champion in Ring of Honor history. I don't know if he still is. Maybe he is. And Daniel Bryan defended the world title for a record 37 times. That's a hell of a run and a hell of a reign as the Ring of Honor World Champion. But he lost it on December, let me see the date here. I think I wrote it down somewhere. Daniel Bryan lost. As I said, he had a close to 15-month reign. He lost the Ring of Honor World title on December 23rd, 2006. I just have this card here. Here's Bryan Danielson. Everybody knows him now as Daniel Bryan from WWE. His real name's Bryan Danielson. Here's a picture of him as Ring of Honor World Champion. This is probably from 2006. There it is. You can see no beard, really short hair. looks quite different now. If you showed maybe some wrestling fan that did not know Daniel Bryan was in Ring of Honor, if you showed some fan that did not know his past outside of WWE, and you showed them this picture and said, "Who's this?" they would probably not even guess that this is the beard-wearing, yes, Daniel Bryan now. But he was a very, very good Ring of Honor World Champion when he was a World Champion. So this ends my video. It's been a long one, but I had a lot of shit to talk about. I did not expect to talk about New Year's Revolution because I forgot that pay-per-view happened in 06, but it did. So I apologize it's so long, but I had a lot of shit to talk about. This ends my part 1 of the Year in Wrestling 2006. Hope you enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter at TNA WWE Guy and at NXT WWE Guy. Hopefully some of you that watch this join me tomorrow night on Twitter for Monday Night Raw live tweeting. Bye for now, everybody.